A very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present of your teachers. I hope you're able to see me and hear me clearly. Thank you so much for joining on another Super Sunday workshop. We are getting into 150-second workshop, and today we are getting into an important topic called a civic sense. Civic driven schools. We are going to be specific to the educators' perspectives and education. This particular topic of civic sense has been talk of the discussion for quite some time at much higher level. The point is, India doesn't have civic sense. Many countries believe that Indians, they'll be like that, and that's a judgment over there because of their certain civic sense attribute. Why are people talking about civic sense? Why are the people in India behaving the way they are behaving? And how do we really change that if that's a problem? In fact, in the recent conversation with the students, Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India, was actually talking about civic sense to the students as well on the topic of Pariksha Pe Charcha, which happened in Coimbatore, if I'm not wrong, and multiple other locations, of course. So, civic sense is an important character of a student, cannot be bracketed under just values as such, cannot be bracketed under just responsibility as such. It cannot even be bracketed under one particular definition. It's more like taking responsibility of your actions in a particular location based on the circumstances that demand and deserve that kind of a behavior in that particular surrounding. It's not something where we have to be debating about all the time, but you can't avoid placing your opinions on. Why do we have to really do that? Something like that. So it's just like, one really, I would say, not really silly, but towards that, it's like you're not supposed to smoke in a particular area. So the person who smokes comes back and says that if you really don't want me to smoke, you better stop selling the cigarettes. No, no, that's not the answer. Just because it's more of an argument. Now, some people might like it, some people might not like it, but there's definitely an opinion placed over there. So let's understand this particular topic, and it's a very important, very nice topic to be understood and spoken about. It's like everybody does this regularly. I remember my principal ma'am, whenever she comes to the school, it's like I've hardly seen principal ma'am coming after me to the school. My principal ma'am, I think she was Veena Rani Mishra ma'am, was always there before us, before the students, and predominantly before the teachers. I remember some of the teachers, what they will do is they'll park the vehicle and then there'll be decent space, but still they'll be like, no, let me park properly. There is space, but still they'll park properly, assuming that just because nobody else is parking doesn't mean I have to take the complete space. So this particular attribute is something that we're going to get into details. Some of you might really love the topic today. Some of you must be like, I don't like this because you've been doing those, which I might say that it's wrong. One of the things that I really, the teachers predominantly do is, I'm not sure how many of you do this. Right after completing your class, right after complete, let's assume that you're using a blackboard and a chalk or a marker and a whiteboard. And right after the completing the class, when you leave the class, uh, some people believe and say that it's a responsibility of the teacher to erase the board completely and keep it neat and clean for the next teacher to come and start using it. So, do you do that? So, if I say that that's a good civic sense, you need to clean the board and then leave the class. Now, some of you don't do that. My father doesn't do that. So he'll be like, no, what's wrong in it? Like my students want to take notes of it, and I keep it so that until the next teacher comes, let them copy what's there on the board. What's wrong in that? Yeah, nothing is wrong in any of these behaviors. It's just that you could have cleaned it. That's it. Let's understand civic sense in a detailed manner. Many people say that you do that. So good to hear that. It can be certain things may be wrong for many and many, but correct for someone. Yeah. So today's topic is going to be that particular debate that we're talking about, Taruna ma'am. You're absolutely switch off the projector for the smart board. You're absolutely right. In fact, the projector people tell that, prefer switching it off because the light or the lumens, it'll kind of cool down a little bit. So these are switch off the projector for the smartphone. This was never a point of discussion 10, 15 years back, if I'm not wrong. We never had that concept, right? See, I did not even think about it. Anyways, let's quickly share the screen and understand civic-driven school culture. Now, this is an important topic because a nation's development is dependent on us. Many journalists speak about their humiliation that happens when they visit another country, a different kind of a treatment in another place by another set of people on a particular Indian. So it's like, and we simply say they're jealous of us. No, may not be all the time. So let's understand this. Civic driven school culture, Super Sunday workshop series, session number 152, teachers. Thank you so much for joining consistently. Let's go forward and understand this in the first way. So, Pariksha Pe Charcha, Modi ji calls for discipline, civic sense to make India a developed nation, an important area, right? And it's spoken not to the adults but to the teachers, but to the students, not even to the teachers. Probably he understands if I speak to the adults, they might not listen. At least the students will listen. They've got better common sense, something like that. No, I'm just exaggerating it, but let's quickly go. A nation is not built by monuments or machinery but by the daily behaviors of people. Civic sense is not a rule book, it is the silent character of a society that cares. I repeat it, it is the silent character, not of an individual, just individual, of a society that cares about the fellow members, that cares about themselves, that cares about what could happen with my behavior the next. That's important by Dr. Ravindra Singh. It's like let me quickly go through the actual topic rather than getting into some of the casual instances that can be related. I'm not sure how many of you are really able to relate to this, but let's understand this one by one. Do you suppose if you're talking to the students, as a student, pick up suppose a chocolate wrapper or a chalk piece or some sort of a litter even when it is not yours? Do you do that or not? So suppose if you're going to the school, yeah. If you're going to the school and then you find some sort of, do you pick it up? Now the interesting part over here is there are speculations. Some students will be like, it's unhygienic. Why should I pick it up? We have got the housekeeping staff and they have a job to do and they'll do that. Does that really mean it is like right that you avoided to pick it up? Think about it. We're not going to say right or wrong at all in this particular thing because many teachers and students might come up with a belief system that I'm going to do my job absolutely fine and let the other person do their job absolutely fine. If the wrapper is there, it's the responsibility of the housekeeping staff to pick it up and put it in the dustbin, not mine. Now, if they come up with such kind of a point, you can't say, no, you're wrong. But a person who's able to pick it up and put it in the dustbin has just got a better civic sense. That's it. So you can't say that's wrong and this is right. Let's understand this. Next one. Do you switch off the lights and fans when leaving the classroom? Another interesting thing. Some people say that they do, and some people they do not. In fact, I clearly remember during my school days, this housekeeping staff, before they actually start cleaning the classrooms, their first responsibility is to go to all the classrooms. And we had got approximately, I think, 2,500 students in a school. All the classrooms, they have to walk and check if the fans and lights are on or not. Well, right now, there are very good systems where from one place you can know that these are the places where the fans are on or off, and you can control the switches. But like it's their responsibility. I don't care. Is that the point that we're supposed to place? Green Mountains will responsible for switching off lights. Exactly. We're going to talk about it, Sunani ma'am. Do you greet security guards, drivers, and housekeeping staff respectfully? Now, this is another very interesting thing which I found. Many children these days, when they come to the school, um, there is a sense of disrespect by them towards them. So it's like they'll not say Didi say ki saaf kar do. They'll not say could you please come and clean it over here. So it'll be more of an instruction. Let me not really say any instruction as such. Ki it's like taken for granted. Like they'll come and do it. There is no sense of respect over that. Now it could be for security guards, drivers, housekeeping staff. Now interestingly, many teachers when they come into the school, they actually wish the security guards. They're like, "Namaste, bhaiya," या फिर "Beta kaisa hai? How's your son? The weather is really cold. How are you able to manage?" When they're entering the gates, when the teachers are talking like this to the security guards, it's not about the civic sense that they are having. It's about the civic sense that they are having towards the students. Now, if the students are talking like this, the security guards are not going to respect them. I hope you're able to hear me, teachers, now. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is actually an issue when I'm not there at my home. I've got the complete setup properly, two internet connections back to back. But when I come out, I miss all those things. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Not being prepared is also like neglecting a little bit of civic sense, probably. But this can happen. Let me excuse myself. If you could excuse me as well, let's quickly go forward. Let's quickly go forward. Now, I would like to show you another point. Do you listen without interrupting when others speak? We're talking about listening skills. What I really mean to say is, you might be tempted to answer a particular question. You might be tempted to place an opinion. You might be so tempted that the pocket that the discussion that's happening right over there, it's absolutely your favorite topic. However, having known all these things, still, if you prefer or if you choose to be silent until another person speaks and comprehend what they're speaking while they're speaking, instead of judging them, listening to them, that's another civic sense. In fact, do you listen without interrupting when others speak? It's a good habit. It's manners, something like that. So do you avoid mocking classmates for wrong answers or accents? Yes, not just the students but also the teachers. There are many instances where by mistake the teachers kind of mock the other teachers, especially with English accents. I really have a very good point over here, which I so basically when you talk about English as a language, it has got certain level of phonics and phonetics. And when you talk about Hindi as a language, it has got certain level of phonics or phonetics, or any language for that matter. Now, the number of sounds that an Hindi language can make is way, way, way higher than the number of pronunciations and sounds in an English language. That means English language does not really have certain sounds that English or Hindi might have. So in this case, when I'm not pronouncing something right, it's not because that it's a wrong pronunciation. It's because I know that kind of a pronunciation or a sound because I'm from Hindi background and I can apply that on English. So it's the lack of sound in English, a problem in the language of English, and not my problem. I hope you're able to understand, even if you have to speak from, say, scientific perspective. And a person who's being raised at a particular locality or a society, they'll have their accent of that particular language, and that's absolutely fine. Sometimes we by mistake mock, the children mock. That's really bad, and other people feel ashamed, and I don't know, at a point of time I'm like, let's not be ashamed about it, let's be proud about it. So looking at my English, people are like, oh, this fellow must be definitely from Tamil Nadu, Madrasi or something like that. I'm like, wow, that's good. That's good, thank you. Let's go forward. Do you include students who are new or different from you? It's like lateral admissions, new admissions during the academic year. How inclusive are you towards that particular child or a teacher for that matter? Do you stand in queues without pushing or complaining? Now, when we talk about school's perspective, it's absolutely possible. The children come in a line, teachers go in a line, they wait for their biometric system. But if the principal is there, that line is maintained. If the principal is not there, just imagine the coordinator, whoever is monitoring, that biometric machine will literally beg, come one by one. Please come one by one. If everybody come and look at me like this, I can't really know. Just that the biometric machine does not really have a face or a mouth. Otherwise, it'll tell you. You all know, right? You have to go and pick up your vehicle, go to your home. So you'll all stand crowding around that particular simple biometric machine. I'm not sure if you're able to relate to this, but many people actually do that. Anyways, okay, let's understand. Do you submit assignments on time without being chased? This is another something I need to work on. Reminders. If at all there is something like, you need to complete an assignment, you shouldn't get another reminder to complete it. One time you did not do, it's absolutely fine. You apologize and you give another deadline. Try avoiding the first deadline. Try avoiding the second deadline. Third deadline again. No, it's not a good practice. Yeah, this is something that I'm telling myself. So, do you submit assignments on time without being chased? No, a lot of chasing happens in my case. I'm really sorry for that. Do you reach class before the bell rings? Oh, this is another friend. So, basically, some teachers will stand right outside the class. The moment the bell rings, this teacher will go, the other teacher will enter. And the children go crazy. They're like, Array, the ma'am came immediately. And exactly that time, the some students will be like, ma'am, may I go to toilet? May I go to toilet? Karke they'll run away. So, do you reach class before the bell rings? Well, if you do that, it's great. If you have another class, you might take a minute or two. But going to the class is something. That's a responsibility. Do you respect opinions that differ from yours? Very difficult, but yes, if you do, then that's great. Do you protect your own and others? This is digital privacy. Some people would have given their phones to you and they show you a picture. See, watch this picture. This is my grandchild. Watch this picture. This is my wife. This is my mother. This is my father. It's very important for the teachers to know that if they're showing a picture, do not use your thumb to swipe to the next picture and see what's next. It's a bad habit. Civic sense. I hope you're able to understand. Whatever picture they're showing, they're showing. That's it. If they say, hey, look at the next picture, then let's go forward. Otherwise, let's not look at this. Let's return back the phone. In fact, I've also seen some people when they give the phone to the students, the children speak to their parents and they give it back. In this process, the teacher, after speaking to the parent, when they give the phone, they'll kind of clean the phone. They'll kind of, rub it like this and then give it to the students. It's a good habit. Maybe you can use a cloth or something like that to have sophisticated civic sense. I don't know. I'm just, but yeah, it's important. We need to do that. So, do you protect your own and other digital privacy? You need to. Do you respect school rules even when the teachers are not around? This is all these pointers that we're talking about. It's going to lead towards something called as civic sense in school culture, which is absolutely applicable even in a public scenario. For that, I would like to talk about the first thing. What is civic sense? It refers to the duty of every citizen to act responsibly and respectfully within their society. It involves maintaining cleanliness, respecting public spaces, obeying traffic rules, and considering others' well being. While it seems like a common sense, its absence in daily life reveals the urgent need to recognize it as a foundational social value. Now, this is not a definition, it's just maybe civic sense is this because it has got a lot more subtopics. Say for example, when you cross the road, it's important for you to follow the zebra crossing. But in zebra crossing there's another car coming and standing, so you just take a D route. You'll probably go behind the car or in front of the car. So who's at fault? Is the car at fault over there for being on the zebra crossing, or you ignoring the fact that, or you're like excusing the fact that the car is on the zebra crossing and choose another route? Which one is right? Both the cases are actually wrong. It's important for the car not to be there on the zebra crossing. It's important for you to not really cross the road in any other part of that particular road. So it's like it's again a dilemma. So is it like you have to tell the car and create a scene over there, push the car back, and then you go walk? There is an advertisement where the guy literally walks on the car. He'll climb on the car because the car is on the zebra crossing and he'll come. It's like, so all these are certain attributes. Now we're not getting into the decision making over here. We are just understanding what is civic sense, and that's why I don't want to comprehend on or comment on what should be an ideal option. But let's understand the psychology behind it. Why are we the way we are? Now it's very important to understand that we learn from our elders. An individual represents not just himself as an individual, but a whole society. When a child is looking at a teacher, the child is not looking that as a social teacher, science teacher. No, there is something called as the silent curriculum. The silent curriculum talks about a teacher's behavior in the class, in the school, or even in a public place. Whatever happens, even if you're there in a supermarket, that teacher is still going to be a teacher for the child. The teacher is getting influenced. No, the child is getting influenced by the teacher's behavior. The child is getting influenced by the parents' behavior. The parents are getting influenced by their own peers. The parents are getting influenced by their own friend circle. The parents are also getting influenced by their idols. I follow so and so person and this fellow does so and so, I should follow that. Something like that. So it's not something that is written on a piece of paper. It's more like looking at someone and following them, mirroring sort of. Especially this is really amazing when the child is just 2 or 3 years old. The child will literally mimic what you exactly do. You respect your wife or your husband at home by saying that, hey, the breakfast was really nice. It was really nice. Thank you so much. One statement of appreciation to your spouse will lead your child to start recognizing the efforts taken by the spouse to appreciate another person. It's like, yes, this food did not come just like that on my table, and let me kind of recognize it, just like my father. It's something like that. I hope you're getting the point. Huh. It should not be the other way. It's like the food is really bad. You forgot to put the salt. Could you please put it next time? I mean, Could you please put it next time is a good idea, but still making an issue out of it, no. And it's also important for the spouse to respond back with dignity. It's like, Aaj kya ho gaya? Why suddenly? Are you trying to, are you bribe me with something or not? I hope you're able to understand. So all these are like an individual represents not just himself as an individual, but a whole society. Now here, why we are saying as a whole society is when you go and do a certain activity in another place where you're not part of that particular society, a newcomer or something like that, people start judging you. You as an individual would have done something, but they'll not say like that. Hey, this person came from Chennai or from Madurai, and he has done so and so. You know, Madurai wale sab aise hi hai. Everybody from Tamil Nadu like that. One just act of that particular person can completely impact a society's impression on another. They should not be judgmental is another civic sense. Now that's a different story altogether. But perceptions do happen. As an Indian, if you go to America, you show your certain behavior, people kind of like it or not, but they'll say Indians are like that. The kind of friction, the kind of hatred Indians are having currently in places like Australia and America, a lot of places. Maybe it's exaggerated, but it's still there. I hope you're able to understand. So you're not an individual, you are a responsibility of a society. Especially in school, it's huge. Behavior at home goes to school and vice versa. So it's like the kind of behavior that you do at home. For example, your parents have inculcated this habit of sharpening the pencil and putting the scrap in the dustbin properly or sharpening at a particular place. The child would prefer to do the same at school. Or else, if this situation never happened at home, the school will teach something and the child has to follow at home. This is not something that you have to tell. It just happens. So behavior at home goes to school and vice versa. Next is impact of a role model. You look at a hero, you look at a teacher, you look at a principal, whoever you like, and when they behave a certain way, you kind of imitate that. You kind of mimic that. You're like, my role model does that. I would like to do the same. Maybe an actor affects behavior, especially smoking, especially, you know, something like, I mean, a lot of instances are there on the cinema that children try to mimic even in the surrounding. Especially in adolescent age, this is really bad. Let's understand. Big and small things judgment. Oh, this is amazing. Throwing a wrapper outside the bus while moving is a small thing by parents. I remembered my own parents when they were there in the bus, they threw some wrapper, outside the bus. They were there on the way to the native place. And I told my teacher has told not to do that. And my mother was like, no, it's okay. It's just a paper. Instead of saying sorry, sorry, yes, I forgot. I shouldn't have done that. That should have been a reaction, but that was not the reaction. I'll be honest. She's not going to like this statement. Gender based. Oh, this is again. This seat is reserved for ladies. It'll be there in metro trains. It'll be there in, buses. But it's just a statement and not followed. It's a civic sense. It's common sense. It's also common sense that you are there sitting and you're seeing a pregnant woman or an elderly person. You just get up and give the seat to them. It is so unnatural. It's so surprising that this instruction is written in the metro station right now, in the metro trains, give place for the elderlies. Now, while I talk about all these things, you can see that there'll be a place for elders, there'll be a place for the differently abled people, there'll also be a place for girls. There'll be never a statement written as this is the place where men can sit. Have you seen anywhere? If yes, then put it on the chat. This is men's place, except toilet, gents' toilet. I've never seen gents anywhere else. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to create a controversy and talk about something opposite to feminism. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's go forward. Mocking or teasing or shaming someone by someone is glorified. Now, again, this is another. So it's like in a class, the children kind of feel empowered, powerful by mocking another person. And whole class goes, they really feel happy about it. Or they're like excited about it. There is a sense of heroism over there, which is again a bad thing. So what really could be done? A lot more. So why are we the way we are? It's because of these influences. I've just written some random points. It need not be bracketed in one particular section because, first of all, this is not really documented. Civic sense is not a scientific thing. It's an opinionated behavior. So we have come up with some random points. So what could be done? What are some ideal rules and regulations? Now that is where pillars of civic sense comes into picture. There are schools who come up with this principles. Let me based on so and so. I would like to stop sharing the screen and quickly tell you something, and you'll like it. What really happens is everybody over here, say Anu ma'am or Nidhi ma'am or Sharmila ma'am, they will all have a certain rule book. Cynthia ma'am will be like, I should be very truthful in my life. I should be very truthful to my friend. Now, I shall be truthful in my life and I shall be truthful to my friend is a rule that Cynthia has created for herself. I'll repeat it. She has created for herself. That rule that she has created for herself is called as rules, morals. It's called as morals. My value system. This is what I believe in, and this is what I would like to behave like. This is with respect to Cynthia. Now, this particular rule, when she's going to the school, her friend is committing a mistake. Now, what should Cynthia do? Should she follow her first moral, stating that she should be truthful and go and complain to the principal that her friend is doing some wrong things? Or is it like she should follow the second rule and be loyal to the friend? I'll be truthful to my friend and avoid that and not really speak about it to the principal. What should Cynthia follow right now? What should Cynthia follow right now? It's like two of her moral values are kind of contradicting to each other. It's becoming a paradox for her, and she's not able to understand what to do. This is called as moral dilemma. Moral dilemma is like very difficult to choose on one of the principles that you follow. Now, interestingly, such scenarios are governed by rules and regulations in a particular setup. Now, these rules and regulations in a school is actually called as ethics. I'll come up with professional ethics as a term. Every school will have their rule statement, rule book, HR policies, whatever it is called as, but it actually comes under the category of professional ethics. So it's very important for the principal or the management to make sure those ethics should not have a dilemma. That's called as ethical dilemma. Let's avoid that. So write a rule so many times. Keep iterating it so many times that it's completely foolproof. I hope you're able to understand. So if moral dilemma gets into picture, immediately ethics come into picture. You follow ethics and you can come to one conclusion. If there is again ethical dilemma, then inspect on it and probably weigh the scenarios and then come to a conclusion. So this is with respect to ethical dilemmas. And for that, I would like to share my screen again. Five pillars of civic sense in schools. So first one is environmental responsibility. Second is social respect. Third is institutional accountability. Fourth is digital citizenship and constitutional awareness. So there are few documents that we have referred. One is sustainable development goals. We've also referred digital citizenship and citizenship as a separate topic. We also understood certain initiatives by Government of India. For a school, civic sense can be categorized under environment, social. Environment is all about your surrounding. Social is all about respecting the people around. Institutional accountability, a sense of pride that I'm from so and so school. I'm from Atomic Energy Central School. The school has got certain values, a system, and I will follow that. Something like that. Institutional accountability, even after you complete your schooling. Digital citizenship, everything related to digital utilization of content. Constitutional awareness, India as a nation. This is my constitution. These are my rights and these are my duties. You need to be aware about it. So these are the five categories under which a principal can or a teacher can write the ethical rule book of a particular school. What can they really write? Now, when they write that, there comes another term called as compliance. So there'll be a teacher who will write the statement. I'll repeat it. There'll be a teacher who will write the statement. You are not supposed to litter in the corridor, but they'll not stop over there. They'll write the repercussion. If you litter in the corridor, you will be fined 1,000 rupees. You're not supposed to park the car over here. If you park the car over here, you're fined 10,000 rupees. It can be finances, or you cannot. You can also be like your next Sunday is cut. You have to come to the school mandatorily and work on so and so. So the punishments can be anything. The point is, they also write the repercussion. They also write trespassers will be prosecuted. Prosecuted. That's an act of what would happen if you do something. Do you think it's a good idea? Absolutely, it's a good idea. You have written it on a piece of paper, and this is called as compliance document. So let's quickly understand this compliance document. And this compliance document is written by all the schools. Some people call it as HR policy. Compliance is the act of adhering to, obeying, or conforming to rules, regulations, laws, standards, or policies set by governments or organizations. In fact, when a teacher is joining a particular school, you get a sign from them: disclaimer, consent form, compliance form, something like that. Compliance is behavior that happens because there is a rule, there is authority, there is monitoring, there is fear of consequence. What would happen? It is externally driven behavior. Now, when we talk about that ethical rule book that we were talking about, if it is coming under the category of compliance, which is fear based, the beauty is that everybody will start following the rules and regulations sincerely when the rules are monitored. But when the rules go off, when the monitoring stops, you go back to the same behavior. That's what they're talking about. Compliance is not really the solution. Compliance happens or followed when students follow civic norms because they fear punishment, they fear humiliation, they fear marks, loss of marks, suspension, authority pressure. I am the principal and I can call your parents and suspend you anytime. I've got that power. Something like that. So this produces temporary obedience, not internalized values. According to behaviorist theory by Skinner, we have done this in another session. Behavior shaped only by punishment disappears when reinforcement disappears. So that means if you're there in the school, you will follow the rules and regulations. The moment you come out of the schools, you don't care. So it's because you followed the rules. It was not internalized. So when the teacher leaves, the behavior leaves. If civic sense depends on monitoring, it is not civic sense. It's a great performance. Okay. So depends on compliance is a wrong thing. So what should you do? Let's quickly understand and close this with probably 7 areas that the teachers can do or the school can do. Children imitate before they internalize, like before they really feel. I would like to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to tell two things which most of the teachers might relate to. Point number one, whenever we talk to the children of age 2, 3, 4, we tell the children that when somebody's helping you, you say thank you to them. You say, I'm really happy. Thank you so much. And if you do something wrong, you say, I'm really sorry. Now, this thank you, sorry is actually, or please for that matter, comes under a topic, in fact, in schools called as the magic words. Now, there is a theory which states that when the children are told to say thank you, when somebody helps you, when the children are told that you say thank you, when somebody helps you, it becomes a habit. I'm still at point number one. It becomes a habit. So next time, whenever somebody is, doing good, the child is going to say thank you. Is it absolutely fine so far? Yes, there's nothing wrong in it. The child is able to understand. But the point number two states that thank you is not supposed to be told when somebody's helping you, or you're not saying thank you because somebody's helping you. The actual fact of the matter is you're saying thank you because you're feeling happy about getting that help from them. I'll repeat it. It's not the help that defines thank you. It's the happiness that you get out of that help defines thank you. Here in this case, thank you is not associated with the act. Thank you is associated with the emotion. I hope you're able to understand. So when we talk about civic sense, it's not because of when something happens, you do this. No, it's because of your emotions. You don't say sorry to someone because you caused harm to them. You say sorry to someone because you did something and the other person is unhappy and you're kind of feeling sad about it. If you don't feel sad about it, you need not say sorry because sorry doesn't really mean that. So it's important for the teachers and the parents to internalize the value of you kind of caused harm to them. You are wrong. Why you are wrong? Because that person is unhappy. And when that person is unhappy, this is what unhappy feels like. So every time when the child is unhappy, the child need to recognize that. So it's like the child wants to go out to play for another 1 hour. The parents are like, time ho gaya, come, you need to come and eat the dinner. Now, here in this case, you need to tell the child, I understand you're excited to play more. I also understand, you're acknowledging that you kind of are sad or angry because you're coming home right now. But unfortunately, there are certain rules. We have to eat on time so that the next actions can happen properly. The first instant of a parent or a teacher was here to acknowledge the emotion, and then you feel sorry for that. I understand that you're feeling excited, but you have to go. I'm really sorry. I hope you're able to understand. So this particular part is the second part. So what we're really trying to say over here is Compliances does not internalize. So what schools can do? Teach. So children immediate before they mix. Model before you mandate. That's what. So this was, I think I got distracted to the second point. So, anyways, coming to the point, what schools can do? Teachers can start the class on time. Leaders follow the same rules as students. Public appreciation of civic behavior, not just academic achievement. Respect for communication among the adults. I've seen some teachers fight like anything in school in front of the students. Civic culture collapses if adults violate it. So, we're actually talking about the supervision, which is basically compliance. And we came forward. So we are there. Model before you mandate. Children imitate before they internalize. Let's go to the next point. Shift from rules to reasoning. Instead of don't litter, why does shared space responsibility matter in a democracy? So don't litter is not like, you're littering, but it's what really important. This place is not just yours. There's another person coming over here and that might cause problem to them. Be empathetic about it. So the reasoning over there, we're talking about the other situation, right? Saying sorry and thank you is not out of the act, it's out of emotions. 10 minutes civic reflection circles can be done. So what did you do, which is like kind of the civic sense the last week? You make the children um, reflect upon that, discuss consequences of small irresponsible acts, probably an accident that occurred because somebody did not follow the lanes properly. You can talk about a misunderstanding of your parent because they didn't consider certain factors. Link behavior to constitutional values, justice, equality, and dignity. It's like talking about another person. Well, this depends on age to age, depending on the type of age category you are in. The way of instruction of a civic sense is completely different. We'll talk about that in another Super Sunday workshop. But right now, let's go to the next point. Create participatory structures. Mini democracy model. Civic sense goes through participation, student parliament with decision power. When the elections happen in the colleges and schools, only then the children show interest in elections in reality. When elections happens in school or college, there is a process that you follow how perspectives can change. Majority of us follow a particular leader because our parents followed, but that's not the case in the current generation. They're able to comprehend. Why? Access to information, and the more importantly, they were able to have, many schools right now have their own election process. They're like, yeah, my parent can have, my best friend can have another opinion, and it's absolutely fine. But still, best friend will support, something like that. So, student power, civic leadership roles, clean energy monitor, inclusion ambassador, every person. Apart from the school captain, there'll be multiple other people responsible. So, there'll be one guy called as green energy captain. So, this green energy captain is responsible for making sure the school is green enough with a lot of plantations and things like that. Budget discussion simulations, student-led policy drafting for school behavior codes. Now, this is very interesting. When you allow the student to write the policy along with you, it kind of gives them commitment. Otherwise, it's like, who told you to put this rule without asking me? They'll not say that, but that's what the mind talks about. So when students co-create rules, compliance becomes commitment. Nice, no? Next, responsibility without supervision experiments. Test internalization, no monitor corridor day. So what you say is like every lunch, every day, there'll be a teacher standing in the corridor. Most importantly, like physical education teacher or a music teacher, and they'll be monitoring the students on how they're doing, how they're talking, how they're sitting and having the food. And you announce one day stating that, hey, students, today the teachers will not be there during the lunchtime. You behave the best possible way. And again, don't tell that we are watching you on the CCTV. No, don't say that. But you do that. It's like you're kind of checking the students if they're really internalizing the values of how they're supposed to behave during the breaks, lunch or something like that. So no monitor corridor day, something like that. Self-managed classroom week. Monitors cannot be active on Thursday. On Friday, the class representatives or class reps, they can be there with the children. So self-managed classroom week. Honesty-based library borrowing, trust-based waste segregation drive. Did you see? All these are internalizing a certain activity through emotions. So if behavior survives without monitoring, culture is forming. Service learning projects. Research in civic education shows experiential civic engagement is powerful. You take the students out to a beach, to a public place and clean the place. Community cleanliness drives, visits to local government offices, environmental audits of campus, collaboration with local civic bodies, SQUAF in one form of an audit. And you do that for like you follow that really sincerely. You have to ethical rules and regulations. So civic sense must move beyond classroom walls is the point over here. There are a lot of NGOs who take this activity very seriously and they take the students to do this. Explicit digital citizenship curriculum, very, very important. Right now, with the kind of digital influence the children are having in their behavior, it's important for us to create awareness, keep conducting sessions, have a curriculum. One of the very good websites for curriculum is on digital citizenship, which I really love, commonsense.org. Common Sense, we have taken a lot of adaptations from Common Sense, and digital citizenship is a separate skill module as well on CBC portal. You can go through. Children can understand. You can also understand. So you teach digital etiquette, how to behave online. Discuss AI ethics and academic honesty. So conduct fake news detection workshops. Introduce digital footprint awareness sessions, and make them use AI and accept that they used AI. It's not wrong. It's not a crime. It's a very good skill. This prevents digital hypocrisy, offline disciplined, online reckless, something like that. Let's go forward. Reflective assessment of civic behavior, not marks but reflection. Civic self audit forms quarterly. It's like there's a form, you have to put a check. I did so and so activities properly, put a check mark. I helped my teacher carry the textbooks from the classroom to the staff room. I voluntarily asked for it, something like that. Reflection journals, portfolio of civic contributions, assessment changes priorities. Move from punishment to restorative practices. I'm telling you, punishment will never work. Instead of suspension for damaging the property, restorative circle discussion. It's like counseling. What happened? Why did you do that? Was it intentional? If it's intentional, then why did you express your anger over there? If you expressed your anger, what really caused that anger? Now I understood the root cause of anger, which led to damaging a property. So solve that anger, which is an emotion and not the activity. Don't reflect upon the activity, reflect upon the emotion. I'm repeating that. Repair responsibility, community apology. So restorative models build empathy and ownership, and it gives a lot of confidence. I remember Steve Smith, I think, Australian cricket captain. He was into a certain malpractice, and he kind of agreed to it to the whole media. The courage that you would have got to tell that, or the confidence that you would have got after seeing that, is so enormous that he was a very successful captain right after that. So move from punishment to restorative practices. Civic sense is not taught in moral science periods. It is engineered through school system. It's not that something happens at just today, tomorrow in a particular subject. It's through the school systems. Let me stop sharing the screen, teachers. So that brings me to the end of the session, teachers. I hope you understood a certain idea, a perspective. Today's reflection form is kind of a little confusing. There are certain options which I feel could have been right, but my team members and some opinions say that the other point is right. It is quite subjective in nature. Yeah, I understood. I'll be able to activate the reflection form in about a minute. Okay. You should be able to work on that in another three, two, and one. Now you can click on the link and it'll start working right now. I'm sorry for this. Okay. Yeah. So parental cooperation is necessary. It'll come. It'll come. It's not working. Yeah, it was not working. Peer feedback forms don't always seem reliable. Often the response lack objectivity and impartiality. Oh, that's a very good point. You're right. Anyways, so that's with respect to civic sense, teachers. Civic sense is also like what you're chatting on the chat when there's an online meeting happening. I remember in one of the CBSE sessions, I guess, at what time you will end the session, I have to go and buy vegetables. This was literally put on the chat. One of the poorest form of civic sense. Another civic sense was like, was really good. That's a great insight. I would like to really comprehend on that. There's a comment on that, you know, of a no, that shows involvement, motivates the speaker. Great thing, just like all of you are doing. So all these attributes can be categorized in the civic sense. More like some people call it as common sense, but it's actually not the case because you're not thinking just about yourself, you're also thinking about another person, and based on that, you're changing yourself. To what extent is another point of debate. On what circumstances, another point of debate. To what extent is another point of debate. That brings me to the end of the session, teachers. Thank you so much for joining on another interesting topic, civic sense in school culture. I'll be sharing the presentation right on the chat. I'd like to meet you again in the next Super Sunday workshop with another interesting topic. Until then, thank you so much. Bye and Jai Hind. I'm sharing the presentation in about 10 seconds, like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sudhir Puri, ma'am, I would like to request or sir to write an email to Rajesh at the rate superteacher.in. You'll be getting it. Yeah? Okay, done. Thank you. Thank you so much, Taruna, ma'am. Means a lot. So, teachers, I would like to close the session for today. Thank you so much. I would like to meet you again in another Super Sunny workshop. Uh, we are really, looking out for an important, need to have kind of topics. In case if anybody would like to suggest on a particular topic, kindly mention that on the remarks column today. Our team will get into the details. We'll try to do our research. Today's session was because when Prime Minister is speaking about civic sense to the students directly, it's important that we do need to talk about this to the schools. Great need created over there. So thank you so much, teachers. Spend time with your family. Have a super Sunday. Bye, everyone. Madhavi, ma'am, thank you so much. Hello to your children. Exactly, Pramisha, ma'am. You're right. Sukhdira, ma'am, thank you so much. Devasmita, ma'am, thank you. Rani Amal Pandian, ma'am, thank you so much. Swarnamal, ma'am, thank you. Jyotsna, ma'am, thank you. Sanya, ma'am, good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Rajesh at the rate superteacher.in. Sudhir, ma'am. Thank you, Hemlata, ma'am. RAJESH and superteacher.in. Thank you. Thank you, Rajni, ma'am. Nisha, ma'am, thank you so much. Harita, ma'am, great interacting. Deva Manogari, ma'am, thank you so much. Yeah. See, if you notice how to behave or what are the civic sense that you're supposed to do, it was not mentioned in the session today. I would request you all to decide because civic sense is not an instruction. So this is how a teacher should be, can have perspectives. And today's session does not have any science backing of why you should do a certain activity the way you do. For example, teacher should erase the board and go. I can't write that as an instruction. Why? Because it's a choice. So maybe you're not having so-called civic sense there as per the definition. You might have civic sense elsewhere, something else. I really like that movie actually. There was a movie called Indian Kitchen in Malayalam where the husband and wife actually eat food, and the husband, the way he eats the food in the restaurant is like very professional, like table etiquettes, manners, very sincerely followed. But he's exactly the opposite at home. He'll not even wash the plates. He'll kind of take it for granted that the wife will take care of things, and he kind of ignores the things. So is that civic sense? No. That's common sense. Before we sometimes get in and say, but they can be fake people. Yeah, could be Sukhdira ma'am, but no idea. Correct, Mona Sundari ma'am. Shabana ma'am, good to know that. Thank you so much. Let's close for the day, teachers. I would like to meet you again in the next Super Sunday workshop. Have a Super Sunday with your family. Bye, everyone.